So it's been probably a day and a half since the last clip, and the guitar is all on the bench here. It's all nicely dry now. I will give it a light tack off before we actually do any painting. But I have actually started mixing up the candy. I've got a really nice purple here. Basically, I've just mixed the candy pearl rosa red there, and that's got a nice pearl in that as well, and the Caribbean blue. And then I've also got a little bit of the rosa red in a little bit of clear there. I haven't actually hardened these or thinned these yet. Just want to get the colour correct first. And I think that's going to be quite nice for the edge. It's going to be like a sunburst again. Yeah, it's quite nice and translucent. And just give that a wipe. It's going to be like a sunburst sort of look again, but with the actual lace pattern showing through. Got a little bit of thinners here in an old pickled onion jar. It's just for washing paintbrushes out and flushing the gun out. Let's see what pinks that's going to look like. Yeah, nice, lots of pearl in that. So I'll probably go on with the pearl first. What I'll do is I'll probably just set you up on time lapse while I'm doing this. Again, with the camera quite a distance away, just zoomed in, because lacquer does ruin the camera lens. But this will be all on low pressure anyway. It's just going through the air gun. When I do the final coat of clear, it'll be through the actual proper, spray gun, my HVLP gun. But I can show you that as well when this is all dry, because I'll do all this, and this will have to just sit again for another 24 hours. Then we'll give it a quick Scotch Brite over just to key it up, and then we'll put some clear on it. This is just my Vasilacca clear again, fast drying, air drying, with the fast air dry low bake activator. It's 2 to 1, so it's going to be around the camera. It's going to be like that and like that. And then I think I'm going to drop a tiny bit of thinners in there just to make it easy to get through the airbrush. I can remember where I put my thinners. Just want to splash in each. Like that. Like that. That's just a standard Tetrasil thinners, standard thinners. I'm a bit closer to the camera, but you basically can see what it is. Give that a little bit of a mix. Do the pink first. Yes, nice and thin. That should go on lovely. I will have the door open because it's going to get quite smelly in here. Let's have a look at the purple. See the pearl in there. So that's going to really add a really nice dimension to the guitar when it's done. And then the purple, which will do fade. I may darken this up on the outside as well, so I may put a tiny bit more blue in that. We'll just see as we go along. Okay, so like I said, I'll set you up on time lapse. Get my mask on, get the door open, and we'll get some paint on the go.
And now for our feature presentation.
Rock it like that.
Let it shine, baby. Let it shine for what? Let it shine, baby.
Rock it like that. In my head, in my soul, there's a flow, boy. Do you know, boy, what I mean, boy? Do you feel, boy, what I feel, boy? Do you know, boy, what I mean, boy? Rock it like that.
50,000 watts of funkin' hip-hop power.
Right, so I don't know if you actually saw in the time lapse, but my airbrush was being a bit of a pig, to say the least. It kept blocking up. It may be because the candy was a little bit too thick, so it got a little bit messy in the paint mixing area. But although I did have a couple of little splashes, I don't know if you can see those there, it looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with the colour. It's got that slightly pinky tone to it. Got a nice black fade around the edge. You just add a little bit of that onyx black metal flake in the edge there, just to give it that extra depth. I darkened up the purple as well, but it's pretty much the colour I was going for. You can still see the actual lace through it, which is what I wanted. I think any darker would have lost the actual lace pattern. It was just starting to go here. This is going to have to dry now for a good 24 hours or so, and then we'll give it a quick flat over. I'm really annoyed about that. The gun was just splattering everywhere. There's not a lot you can do with candy when it goes like that, but I am going to put some metal flake over the top of that, so it may hide it. So, like I said, we're going to have to leave this for 24 hours, flat it, probably put another 3 coats of clear on with some silver metal flake in there, just to give it an extra bit of lift. And then again, we'll have to leave that for a good 24 hours before we flat and polish. But yeah, pretty good so far. Right, since the last clip, I've added a bit more pearl, a little bit more of the actual pink pearl. And it looks the same from this side, but when you come round here on the flip, you can really see the purple come out of it. Once the clear's on that as well, the depth will really come out. You'll see the actual lace more as well. I'm hidden the little mistakes here as best I can with some darker colour, but once that's all cleared again, polished, it's going to look amazing, I think. Yeah, I'm really happy with that now. I think I'm glad I did the extra purple, just gives it that extra depth. You can see the flip, and you can see it on camera, just changes colour. Okay, so I'm going to leave this now, probably for 48 hours actually. It's just before Christmas, so I'll leave it right until after Christmas. Probably during Christmas and New Year, I'll give it a flat and a re-clear. And then I'll leave it again until the New Year. And I'll give it a polish. Right, it's about 3 or 4 days later, and the clear coat, or the candy, has actually dried really nicely, but it has sunk back quite a lot. I don't know if you can see there, the grain is really sort of prominent now, which is to be expected with an open grain guitar really. But what we can do now is basically flat the entire thing. I'm just going over with a nice 800 grit here to get it as smooth as possible, and then I'm going to put another 3 full coats of just plain clear on top and just basically flood out the top as much as I can. Then I'm going to leave that again for probably about another 3 or 4 days, and then we're going to flat it with a 1500, 2000 and 3000, and then we'll polish it back up to a nice shine, and hopefully that will fill all the grain and give us a really nice smooth finish. So I'll continue with this 800 disc. Just basically I'm just going over the entire thing, get as much of the actual peel out and some of the actual bits of dirt and things like that out of it. I could go a little bit coarse with a 500, but I don't want to risk actually going through too much of the actual candy and changing the colour. So I've done probably 4 coats of clear, but I did add some flake. I just couldn't resist. It's come out pretty flat, but there are some little bits of dirt in there, which is inevitable in this sort of job in my paint shop at the moment. So I get some decent extraction, but yeah, it's pretty good. Once those are flattened out and polished back up, that's going to look lovely. You can still see some of the wood grain as well through it, which is what I wanted, which is quite nice. You can still see the lace. I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to let this sit now, probably until the new year, because this is now in between Christmas and New Year, so probably a good 3 days. And then I'll flat it with 1500 and polish it back up. And then I'm going to oil all the back and the sides, and I think you'll agree that's going to be a nice looking guitar. Right, everyone, Happy New Year. It's now the new year, and this has been drying now for probably about 4 or 5 days or so. And I've demasked it, and I'm really happy with how it's come out. Actually, it's come out nice and flat and glossy. Yeah, there's a little bit of dirt here and there, but we can denib that and give it a good polish as well. I am going to order a bridge. I haven't decided which one yet. Obviously, it's not going to be a through body stringing on this. It's just going to be a through bridge. But I think I'm going to mark it all up before I do any flattening and polishing, just to make sure it's all nice and I don't mar the paint when I'm drilling it, etc. But I think you'll agree that looks really, really nice. Really happy with the finish. Glad I put some metal flake in it. It's a rainbow flake as well, with a little bit of purple spindrift in there as well. So I don't know if you can see it on camera, if the camera does it actually justice. But now what I'm going to do now, I think I'm going to clean up the binding just on the edge here with my little retractable scalpel, just to actually clean up the edge very gently and remove any paint, just to clean the binding up, make it look nice and neat. And then I'm going to put some oil on it and see how that white stain looks with the oil on top. So I'll continue with this. Basically, I'll just go around very gently with my scalpel here, just at a nice 45-degree angle to the actual binding, and gently just scrape away any excess paint, pretty much like that. Do it very, very gently, a little bit at a time. Don't go mad. Less is more, of course. You can always take a little bit more off. You can't add any more on. Not with this paint job anyway. Okay, I'll continue with that, and then we'll have a look at the oil. Okay, before I actually do any oil, I'm just giving it a little bit of a clean here with some glass cleaner, an alcohol-based glass cleaner, just to remove any tape glue, because it's been stood for so long. The actual glue from the tape has left a little bit of residue. The oil will probably fetch that off, because I'm going to probably put up 5, 6, maybe 7 coats of oil on here, just to give it that extra depth. Okay, so I think I've got most of that off. Let's try a little bit of the oil. Again, I'm using the penetrating guitar finishing oil. This is from Crimson, I think it is. Yep, Crimson Guitars. Really good stuff. Did a really nice job of the Ernie Ball guitar. If you didn't see that video, I'll pop a link somewhere around here. You can go and watch that. You might find that interesting. So what I'm going to do is, I should be wearing my gloves really. I'm just going to use a little bit of this kitchen towel first, just to put it on, and then I'll use a cloth to buff it off. But I just want to see what it looks like with the oil. Oh yeah. So I may do this and sand it in between coats of oil, just with something like an 800 to give a really nice, fine, glossy finish. It smells amazing, this stuff. Hope everybody had a really good Christmas and a good New Year. Hope we've all recovered now. Most people will probably be back to work, I'd have thought. Which is quite depressing after you've had a nice break. Some people might have worked Christmas and New Year. Drop me a comment below. Tell me if you worked over Christmas and New Year. Yeah, that goes on really nice. So what I'll do, we'll let that sit 10-15 minutes. I'll do the edges as well. Let that sit for about 10-15 minutes. And then we'll give it another buff, and then we'll probably do some more coats. And I think you have to leave it 24 hours or so, but I think you can see the actual wood grain in that now is really starting to come out. Yeah, really happy with that. I'm just continuing here with the oiling, and I think it's coming out really nice. This is probably the 4th, maybe 5th coat. Still got a few little scratches in it, but I think that's going to flat out as I go along. So what I'm actually doing is putting the oil on just with a bit of kitchen towel, and then going over with a little bit of 1500 paper, just like this, and basically just smoothing the actual oil into the wood. and then you get a nice shiny finish. But I did see on a Crimson Guitars instruction video on YouTube about how to use this oil. When you finish with the actual cloths, drop them in water because this can self-combust. So if you're going to use this stuff, make sure you actually dispose of your tissues and your cloths carefully and out of your workshop. I did actually see that video at about 12:30 at night, and just after the new year, so I was running down here in my pyjamas and getting rid of all the old cloths out the bin and putting them in a bucket of water. So that was fun. Maybe I'm just being paranoid as well, but it's just a safety concern if you're going to use this guitar oil. Right, okay, so I'm going to leave that now for a couple of hours and I'll give it a buff off. May give it another coat. I'm really liking the actual look of that. And then on the other side, I have actually got the bridge. I've measured it all up and fitted it temporarily, then taking it out again, because when this oiling's done, I'm going to flat the actual paintwork with a 1500, 2000 and a 3000, and then I'll polish it back up to a nice shiny finish, and then it should be pretty much finished. Okay, so the guitar is pretty much all oiled now. I'm just going to leave that basically overnight until it's all set back, and then I'll give it a final buff. As you can see there, she's come up with a nice satin finish. I'm really happy with that, actually. It's really nice. Sides are all done as well. A little bit sticky still. Just need a little bit of a final polish, like I said. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually flat the actual top. Like I said before, the bridge is all being measured and drilled. It's basically like a little, just a standard Fender bridge there. So it should clip in there nicely, through strung. Went for the silver in the end, a nice chrome. I think that just sets it off. And then if you've got some chrome humbuckers and cover, etc., I think that just make it look really nice. I'm going to put that to one side. So what I'm going to do is get some 1500. Just some 1500 paper. Just need a small piece. I'm going to do this by hand, because it's not actually that bad. It's quite flat. Just needs some little bits of dirt taken out, like I started there. And then I'm going to use some glass cleaner, just on the paper, like so. And then we're just going to very gently remove any peel, bits of dirt, make a really nice flat finish. And then I shall get my little polisher out. And once it's been flattered with 1500, 2000 and a 3000, we'll polish it back up to a nice shiny finish. And with this project pretty much finished. Okay, so I flattened the entire guitar now with a 1500, 2000 and a 3000. Using my cutting paste, I'm just using the G360 with my green 3M head on my very cheap and nasty Guild dual action polisher. I did a review on this on my other channel, and it's actually not a bad little polisher actually. I give it some stick and slag it off a little bit, but it's actually a really good polisher for the money. I think it was 30 quid for the polisher. I'm going to be using dual action instead of my rotary. The rotary is a little bit more aggressive. I don't want it to actually grab the actual F-holes and either pull the paint off or damage the actual wood. So I'm going to have to be really careful around these areas. I may even do these areas with the drill and a little small polishing pad as well, instead of actually using the DA. So what I'm going to do is just basically go over the entire thing. I will turn it on. The entire thing. With this head on this polisher, and then I'll check it if there's any scratches. If there is, I can go over again, a little bit of 2000 and then 3000, 1500 if I have to, and then I'll use the yellow 3M paste, which is the fine cutting paste, and the blue ultra fine paste, and then I will finish off with a sealer and some wax. Nice microfiber cloth. It's starting to get there. Needs a lot more work yet. What I'll do is I'll take my time with this, just polish it very, very slowly. So I don't want to get too much heat into the actual paint. It's had probably 2 or 3 weeks to dry now, so it should be nice and dry, but I just don't want to risk it cause any damage to the actual paint, because then the guitar will basically be ruined and I'd have to start again. Yeah, there's a lot of scratches there, so they're all going to come out first before I do any more polishing, so I'll do that first. So that's polished up really nicely actually. A few little fingerprints here and there, so I'll get those off. Still got to do a little bit of a wax on it yet. That's the 3 stages I've gone through. I think you'll agree that's turned out really nice. The wood on the back and on the sides, let's turn around gently. It's come out really nice, all nicely finished. Grains all standing out nicely. Yeah, I really like that. I'll pop it back round again. Oop. So that's pretty much done. If you've liked this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Stay tuned for more guitar content, and I'll see you in the next video.